Iowa versus Oklahoma State, one of, if not the best rivalry in college wrestling to date. This rivalry goes back to the Stone Ages, with Cowboys and Hawks battling it out for the top wrestling powerhouse. Alright, but to get serious, this duel is always crazy, and it was very missed last season, with Big Ten only wrestling Big Ten opponents. We did see a few of those matchups at the big show, but overall it was not the same, obviously. These two teams battled in football stadiums and in some of the most hostile wrestling environments known to man. This year they're taking their talents to a neutral site in one of the biggest wrestling events of the 2022 year, Bout at the Ballpark. There was men's freestyle going on with international opponents, which we will cover a little later, don't you worry. College commitments announced, female wrestling battles, and finally why everyone is here for me to talk about the Cowboys versus the Hawks. And man, this duel did not disappoint. I mean, it was in a professional baseball stadium in Texas. It does not get much better than that. Before we dive in, hi everyone, my name is Tanner, and welcome back to TrueTan Wrestling. If this is your first time, hello, and hit that subscribe button for more wrestling content. I primarily do duel and tournament breakdowns, like this video, breaking news stories, and college retrospectives from time to time. If you like those ideas, or well, this video, hit that like button for more, and leave a comment on your thoughts on the event. I really love this event, and I loved watching both of these teams compete. I've made several videos on both of these teams and their lineup struggles throughout the season, so be sure to check those videos out, and check out the channel while you're there. Now let's dive headfirst into one of the best events of 2022. For starters, I want to mention this was such a cool event. I mean, it was in a professional baseball stadium, but there was just so much fun wrestling going on, and it was organized pretty well. The event started with the freestyle portion of the event, which I will cover near the end of the video with a few of my notes. The main points to point out is that Iran obviously could not make it to the event, which was sad, and that would have been such an electric duel between them and Team USA, but unfortunately they did the next best thing. It was awesome to see other international wrestlers step up and take on Team USA. And of course, the other thing to mention is that Dayton Fix competed in both the international duel for Team USA and the college duel for his respected school, Oklahoma State. This goes to show the level of athlete Fix is, and it was just awesome to see him put himself out there in both events. We will circle back to the freestyle portion of this in a few, but for now, let's get back to the college duel. Oklahoma State entered this duel, and well, the season for that matter, as the underdog, and especially in recent weeks with the AJ Ferrari incident. The Cowboys have seriously been struggling, but that could all be set up for them to start climbing towards their massive peak again and cause a super big upset here. However, Iowa has looked solid when all 10 guys are in the starting lineup. Even in their Penn State duel, and with Spencer being out of the lineup, they're still a really good team, with only losing one duel on the year. So for sure an uphill battle for Oklahoma State, but definitely not impossible for them. The Oklahoma State Cowboys were actually let out by Pistol Pete, their mascot who made the trip to Texas, which was actually super funny. And one exciting thing after the duel, we knew that we would have full lineups of expected starters, except for AJ Ferrari, who we already knew would be out, and Drake Ayala is also still out for the Hawks, but that was kind of well known, and we probably won't see him till maybe conferences, if that. So we had a loaded matchup set, and starting at 125, we knew the duel would not disappoint, with Master Giovanni making his return at 125, going against Hawkeye now starter Ybarra for Iowa. These two did not do much in the first period, but after that, it was honestly pretty fun to watch. For starters, they both picked neutral for their choices, which was interesting, and it made it pretty apparent that Master's knee is pretty injured. Master had a few shot attempts, and he was only really pushing for the most part, and he was very much favoring his bad knee, so I hope he heals up over time for the young 125 Cowboy. But Ybarra looked good this match, taking a 4-1 lead, having some nice takedowns, but Master would very impressively rally back on a bad knee to win the match 6-5, which was a must win for them. This is a great way to start the duel, and they both did great things, but my takeaway is I hope Mastro heals up before March, because he can return to his form from the beginning of the year. He can be trouble, but it is really hard to do that with a knee injury at the big show. Then we had a key matchup of the night at 133 with the rematch of last year's NCAA semifinals with number 2 Dayton Fix of Oklahoma State taking on returning third place finisher Austin Asano of Iowa. I will say this, I thought Fix looked really good with his 2 takedowns at Asano 0, which you do not see much in this landscape. However, Asano wrestled him super tough, and he clearly got over the bomb struggles that he always has against Fix, and he was able to escape, both Fix getting those 2 takedowns and stopping all of his attacks, it was all fixed, and he hit a grand slam extending the Cowboys lead 6-0, heading into 141, with Ironman of Iowa facing against Oklahoma State freshman Carter Young. This match went sort of how you would expect it to go, with Carter Young dropping this battle in the bottom game to a very skilled Ironman getting an impressive ride with some takedown points added in there. He would end up winning 6-1, putting the Hawks on the board, but honestly Carter didn't look that bad, and he's been battling more and more as the season goes on. 149 was another massive, and I mean massive, swing match for both teams, and the same could be said for 157, but let's talk about Murin versus Goodfeller first at 149. Both of these guys I am super high on this season. Murin is winning matches with his pace and his control ties, and they might have some tight matches from time to time, but he is winning with his stuff. The same could be said for Goodfeller, who's back at 149, and man, does he look so much better at his comfortable weight, winning several great matches this season. These two battled it out once again. Murin showed another gritty win, getting a second period rideout to get a significant amount of riding time with a takedown to win the match over the Cowboy, tying the dual meet up. Then 157, we had a rematch of the 7th place NCAA match between Caleb Young of Iowa and Wyatt Cheats of Oklahoma State, whose series record was 1-1 heading into this match. Caleb Young has for sure taken his lumps this season, but man, did he look battle tested for this match, knocking off the 8th place All-American for the second straight time in their career, which set up Iowa to take the lead heading into this dual meets break. At this point, I thought Iowa looked really good, even during their losses, and Oklahoma State looked okay in my opinion, but that's easy for me to say considering they were losing at this point. But also with that said, Fix easily looked the best out of anyone in this dual meet so far. Scoring 2 takedowns on DeSano is not easy. Leaving the break, we had another key matchup between Travis Whitlake of Oklahoma State, who just came off a close loss to top-tier freshman O'Toole of Missouri, and is now facing off against Iowa longtime All-American Alex Marinelli. Despite being another 3-2 win for Marinelli, I thought he looked really good, getting several shot attempts to Whitlake's very few shot attempts. Marinelli just looks solid in my opinion, and he has looked better and better since his Cartwheel loss, which I think got him set on the right track again. 174 was a match Oklahoma State sorta needed to win some of those swing matches beforehand to have somewhat of a lead, because Michael Kemmer had a slight advantage over Plott. Even though it was only a decision win for Kemmer, he really controlled Plott from all positions. Plus, after these last 2 matches, Iowa was really rolling, and it was sort of out of Oklahoma State's hands at this point, especially with no AJ Ferrari at 197 in 2 bouts. However, with all that said, at 184, Dakota Gear for Oklahoma State would just barely miss out on Adrian Avasad of Iowa, which is something Trent Hidlay of NC State and Aaron Brooks of Penn State couldn't even do. Gear looked great from his shot defense, neutral offense, and top work in his win, and he seemed super dominant over the young Assad. Despite this really nice win for the Cowboys, it really wouldn't matter with Warner getting a major for the Hawkeyes, really sealing up the deal over 197 Phil and Sticka, who isn't bad, he just is a bit underproductive compared to AJ Ferrari. And then at heavyweight, Cassioli would take out 30th ranked Serber, give the Hawkeyes a duel 23-9, storming past the Cowboys. Iowa honestly looked great in this duel, really taking control of what they could control. Oklahoma State could not come up with any bonus points, and they really didn't come close to winning any of the swing matches they needed to win, which ultimately lost them the duel. Iowa is showing their greatness week over week, and it is super fun to watch. I know I've said this throughout this video, but man, this event was just fun. It started with Team USA versus Team International All-Stars, along with some women's wrestling, basically USA versus Canada from that aspect, but not all the matches were like that. We had some other matches too. Helen Maroulis wrestled a match, which was always great to see her kick butt. To be honest, it was also great to see guys like Darian Cruz take on Thomas Gilman, or Noel versus Finesilver, along with Burroughs and Snyder getting wrestling matches. But there really wasn't too many competitive matches on the male side, and I believe all the matches ended early with a freestyle tech fall. Obviously, if Iran would have came, it would have been way more competitive between Team USA, plus we would have had Cox at 92 kilograms, getting a second crack at the Iranian wrestler. On the other hand though, we got the next best thing, with basically a week's notice, and I am so glad Team USA got a chance to wrestle in some sort of super event. I at least thought it was pretty awesome. You don't always get to wrestle in a Major League Baseball field, and big props to the guys who stepped up to fill in for the Iranian team. In other news, the Blade sisters committed to Arizona State during this event, so this is a massive get for them, that goes without saying. And I know they have a great training center with Sunkist Kids, so I'm sure that played a major role in their commitment. To be honest, I thought Iowa was about to land another major recruit, but it is awesome seeing another Power 5 team trying to set up camp, and Arizona State is the perfect team to do it in my opinion, especially with their tremendous RTC resources. Well everyone, that was the bubble that was Bout at the Ballpark. From the college duel, which was easily the star of the show, sorry Jordan Burroughs, But it was also rad to see guys like Jordan and Kyle compete at the level they did and really kick butt for such a large fan base. I'm just happy they didn't cancel the freestyle portion of the event altogether. Regardless, from the college men to the international women and men, this event was just awesome, but I'm sure you are sick of hearing me say that by now. With all that said though, if I missed anything you wanted me to talk about, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. My next video will probably cover the Big Ten dual schedule wrapping up, so be on the lookout for that and subscribe so you don't miss out, or follow me on Twitter. That link should be in the description below. Now, I wish you all a great day and I will see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.